Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Not Your Average Bucket List by Only in Your State. I'm here with my co host, Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
Hey, Marissa.
So, I don't know why sometimes this keeps me up at night. I feel like we don't have a good enough intro to the podcast. And like,
Yeah.
I listen to so many, I don't know if you listen to Armchair Expert, he's like,
Mhm.
welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm like, dang, that's so cool. And then I feel like
Yeah.
we need something catchier. I don't know.
I almost would. So to me, I want to think
Mhm.
about what would only in your state, what kind of intro should we have? Maybe we should like start off with just like a fun fact, like a little known trivia or something. Like,
That'd be cool.
did you know that Ohio may, oh gosh, what did I just see? Um, Maybe it was our last episode. Like, there was this cow that in 19 whatever they voted as the homecoming queen, and its name was like Marigold or something. I'm like, why not talk about a
Oh,
homecoming queen cow? Because I would want to be at that dance.
I
I
love that.
I would celebrate Marigold. Yeah, we can workshop that. I think we need to do something. I
I
agree.
like that. I do like fun facts. I think that's a great idea. I feel like we've been trying to pepper them in for this particular season, our state exploration challenge. And we're covering North Carolina today, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. Hello, Ghost.
Yeah, Ghost is like, I love North Carolina too.
As
Um,
they should.
so, fun fact about North Carolina, fun random fact that I just have to share is that this is like I know we talked about carnivorous plants in
Mm-hmm.
the Wisconsin episode because you were talking about that one observatory or the
Mm-hmm.
botanical
Yeah,
garden.
like the horticulture conservatory. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned carnivorous plants, and I thought that was really interesting because North Carolina is known for being the native habitat of the Venus flytrap.
Really?
Yeah. So they were saying that the Green Swamp, which is in the southeastern portion of the state, is one of the very few places in the world where the Venus flytrap grows naturally.
I remember whenever I was but a wee child, I got so excited when my parents got me a Venus flytrap. I was like,
Oh.
"Oh, this is amazing! This is gonna be so metal!" Like, it was great.
So metal. Just snapping flies out of the
Yeah,
air. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know who it was that told me. I was gonna buy one recently. It was just like randomly in I think Home Depot. And I know someone's like, no, they're it's a lie. They're a lie. They'll die. They're not supposed to like. I was like, I thought they were just there chilling, eating flies.
Why is it a lie? Like, can they
Mhm.
not survive on the little flies that I put into their little grasp?
Yeah, I don't know if it's one of those things where like they're not supposed to be taken out of their native
Mm,
habitat, and then they've become this kitschy thing for us to
yeah.
just put on like maybe they need more care than just what we've kind of,
Well,
because I'm sure it's
maybe. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of plants like that and a lot of creatures. And look, humans aren't great at just leaving stuff alone. We're like, we like this, we're gonna bring it inside. But maybe we should go to the southeast swamp of was it the Green Swamp in North Carolina
yeah,
to see them for
yeah.
ourselves, just hanging out as they do. That'd be
I
great.
would love to see actually because I wonder how big they get. Obviously, not anything like Little Shop of Horrors, but like if natively, if they're just growing wild and out of control and not singing musical numbers, but
Yeah, we can name them Audrey 1, 2, 3, just like all the way down. I don't know, maybe it's like because I've only seen the ones that are like this big, right? Like
yeah,
they're like a
yeah,
silver dollar max. So I'm not
yeah.
sure. Welcome to the Venus Flytrap podcast by Only in Your State. Exciting times.
Love how this kicked off. But let's start talking more about North Carolina. And so, for anybody that's joining us for the first time, we are doing our season 3 is all about exploring some of the best places in your state. We are polling our readers via Facebook to see what they recommend. Consider it, you have a good friend coming to visit you. Where are you going to take them to give them the authentic experience of your state? And so everything that Sarah and I are going to be talking about in this podcast is going to be pretty much doubled in our article on onlyinyourstate.com. So we'll have obviously the audio component, but we're going to go into more details about places to visit. We have an interactive map. Sarah's been creating these killer Spotify playlists, which you can just hit play and then go to all these different attractions. And yeah, so just consider it like a fun, customizable adventure that you can take to explore your state.
Yeah, get to know North Carolina, any state, a little bit better, explore the state, and even maybe give us feedback on if you took this journey, how you felt, what you saw. That'd be great.
I would love to hear people respond to our Wisconsin episode because that one was just filled with so many different roadside stops.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
we spent a good time talking about the Hodag and the National Mustard Museum. So that's only a small taste of what you'll get out of these road trips.
We like to keep it fun. It's all right.
Yeah, keeping everybody on their toes.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, would you like to kick us off for this North Carolina episode?
Yeah, so let's start with the Sarah P. Duke Gardens and Duke University. So I put this number one on my list because one, I've been here. It's absolutely beautiful. Duke University is just a gorgeous campus. It's one of those older universities that kind of looks like Hogwarts. There's a lot of stone buildings and pathways, and it's just a great place to explore. And yeah, if you go to Durham, North Carolina, you can explore Sarah P. Duke Gardens. It's 55 acres of landscaped wooded areas. They have a couple of shops and cafes, and it's just a really gorgeous place to explore, both the university and the gardens itself. So I highly recommend it. Like, let's be honest, there's a lot of amazing natural spots in North Carolina. So the list is long, but this is one of my favorites. I think just having an afternoon at the university and taking in some of the sites and then stopping at the gardens is something you'll really enjoy.
That's cool. I've never
Hmm.
been. I've never been to that university, but I've seen a lot of
Hmm.
photos, and it looks great.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. Okay, so moving along, I'm going to add another one that is kind of in the same realm. Biltmore Estate in
Mm.
Asheville. This one is probably the one that was recommended the most by everyone, and
Yes.
I could easily see why.
Hmm.
It's not only the largest privately owned home in the entire country, but this is a place where you could spend a day enjoying the architecture, wandering through the gardens. There's a winery. It's massive and built by George Vanderbilt in the late 19th century. Still standing, still kicking. People go just to kind of like have a glass of wine and chill.
Yeah.
And sounds like a great place to, if you're a history lover, if you love architecture, even, I mean, just
Yeah.
go and do nothing.
It's gorgeous, and I kid you not, Marissa. Last night I was having dinner with a friend, and she brought out a glass of Sauvignon Blanc from Biltmore Estate that she just went to with her mom last week or so, and
Interesting.
did like a winery tour tasting. So yeah, I can
That's so
confirm
cool.
wine is great. um, and yeah, and I was so excited to see it on your list for today because yeah, it felt like I did a little bit of side research for you. The wine is spectacular. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. Actually, I was in
yeah,
Asheville last year, and I don't know why. Also, it was like the Arctic. The temperatures were, I think,
yeah,
hovering around 5 degrees, but we never made it
yeah.
there, and now I kind of regret it.
I went to Asheville during the pandemic. It was just like I was driving down to Florida to visit my brother, and I was driving back up and stopped in Asheville, and it was so shut down. I mean, good for them. Not saying that was a bad thing, but I just forgot, hey, it's the pandemonium. Everything's going to be shut down, and didn't want to go to the Biltmore Estate, so I missed out on all of it. So I need to go
Uh,
back down. Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely go to check this one out. This just sounds like something that everybody should at least wander through once.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're on your way to the Biltmore Estate in Nashville, you will probably, if you're coming from the north, pass through one of the items on my list is the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. as well as the Blue Ridge Parkway. I know that
Mm.
I feel like everyone already knows about this. We've covered it on Early in Your State. We covered it in other podcast episodes, but I cannot stress just how beautiful it is. And you don't have to get out of your car, but you might want to as you're passing through the 500,000 acres stretching into North Carolina and Tennessee. And it just has so many vistas and outlooks in the Blue Ridge Mountains. So it's just a gorgeous place to drive through, stop. There are waterfalls and forests and hiking trails. You can start on the section of the Appalachian Trail. You can go to Clingman's Dome, Laurel Falls. You can go horseback riding, fishing, all of this stuff. It's huge. And it's just like, if we're talking about things you need to do in North Carolina, we would be remiss not to mention the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
Yeah, for sure. I almost feel like it's one of those things where maybe if you live in North Carolina and you get used to it,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
just like I wonder how many people can still marvel at fall foliage, or take the time to just like drive through it and appreciate it, especially if they've been seeing it for, 50, 55 years.
Well, I feel like there's this, I don't know if there's a term for it, but it's almost like not local apathy, but if you live or grow up around something, you might not be out there visiting it because you're like, yeah, it's right there. Haven't
Mhm.
been, but it's right there.
Yes.
So take the moment, take the weekend, bring a loved one or a dog or even a cat like out to the national park and just admire the beauty. It's the time of year for it. So,
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so speaking of the Blue Ridge Mountains, this one is my next stop is located in the mountains, but underground. The Linville Caverns.
mm,
I know we always got to throw in a cave or cavern into the mix.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so also just what I think is very interesting that I know we talk about caverns. I know they're not really your favorite thing,
Mm-mm.
but also just how creepy they look. Like
Yeah.
these caverns are very fascinating, but also if you're just looking at these photos, it's very creepy. There's something, how what is the phrase for people that can't see like a bunch of circles or like
Oh,
put together?
yes. Oh,
It's
the
like
phobia.
that. Yeah, yeah. It's like
Mhm.
that, but there's like a different degree to it when you're looking at like these rock formations that I don't know. But
I think
anyway,
it's
with that
trypophobia. The fear of
yes.
small holes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's in that same realm. Like caverns are so fascinating, so creepy, so weird. Linville Caverns in particular, these are limestone caves. And it's just, you get to have a guided or self guided tour of this subterranean world. And these rock formations are really something special and beautiful. And it's not only just rock formations, there's underground streams too, which I think is very neat. And yeah, guests of pretty much all ages can go and enjoy this. It's not super super deep, nothing like Carlsbad that we've talked about before, but still very beautiful and definitely should be added to your list.
I will say I will visit these if they allow me to take like a carabiner, clip it to the entrance, and then have a rope the entire way. I'll do it then, but that's it.
Interesting. What if you just clipped it to your guide and then just like
Mm,
entrusted
they can
them?
fall. I mean, but yeah, okay. No, it does look beautiful. I came across it too in my research. Maybe one of these days I'll get the gumption to visit some caverns, but yeah, it looks beautiful. Let's see. I do want to mention something else that also terrifies me in a delightful way is the Moorhead Planetarium. Now, planetariums just is a specific thing for me because it's large and dark and just we don't have to get into that. But if you are interested in getting an experience unlike any other and going to a basically a custom made planetarium show. Most of them are made by the staff there and they produce it themselves. Go to Moorhead Planetarium and Science Center. It's on the UNC campus in Chapel Hill, which, by the way, Chapel Hill also very beautiful. It is just like a quintessential to college town. You would love walking through. And yeah, go to the planetarium and see a show. It will take you on an adventure through the galaxy, to Mars, to the moon, over volcanoes and through tsunamis. It is just a really cool experience. I hope that I would be brave enough to do it because it looks. I've never been to a planetarium, and this is like looks like one of the coolest things you can experience. So yeah.
Neat. So in that same vein, would you go to the new Sphere in Las Vegas?
So yes, I
Yeah.
saw the U2 show, and it looked
Yeah.
absolutely crazy. Honestly, I
Yeah.
had no idea what the Sphere was for. I just saw videos of it with like all the basketballs and like the stuff. Like, oh, that's cool. I guess I would see a show in there. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could stand like if I was in like the 300, 400 sections to like see the whole thing. I don't think I could stand up. I would just be very,
Mm,
very still watching all of it. But I think so. How about
see.
you?
Yeah. Yeah, I would. I like planetariums. I've been to a bunch, and there's something about them that I really appreciate in terms
Yeah.
of just how quiet it gets. I feel like that's a
Mm,
rarity, and
yeah.
I do get nauseous. No surprise. Um, I watched this one underground film, I guess, on a giant like planetarium screen, like a dome screen,
Oh, yeah.
and we were following along this dolphin's life, and I ended up getting nauseous, which how fun. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I can see that.
I do love planetariums. I think, especially if you could check out like if they do laser shows. I know
Ooh, I
Miami.
would do that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
All right, cool. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit and talk about the world's largest operational frying pan in Rose Hill, North
Oh wait,
Carolina.
they can use it?
Yes. So
Okay.
first it was the world's largest frying pan, and I was like, oh, how cool, very interesting. But then I started seeing other people saying that no, we have the largest frying pan. We have the largest frying pan. And it turns out this one is the world's largest operational. So it is 15 feet in diameter, weighs 2 tons, holds 200 gallons of oil, and
Ooh.
can fry 365 chickens at a time. So they're cooking on this thing.
Wow.
And yeah, pretty fascinating. Can feed a lot of
Who
people.
knew? Who knew that the largest frying pan game was so competitive? I
Correct.
yeah.
Yes. Because there's actually one in Turkey. There's one in Iowa. So it was, yeah, I think actual largest frying pan was 22 feet, and it was in Turkey, and they cooked 600 kilograms of calf liver in 2,520 liters of oil.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's just like a random frying pan in Iowa that is 8 feet by 9 feet, and just kind of like is like cast iron and just standing in the ground. So it
Just
doesn't, you don't,
hanging out. Yeah, okay.
yeah. Yep.
Wow, that's a big frying pan. Holy.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stay in the same vein. If we're going to be talking about fun little stops, I want to talk about the let's see what it's called. It is the Wallace Simpson Whirligig Park, and that is in Wilson, North Carolina. And I didn't realize that we're a whirligig was called that. So I thought like a weather vane, like where it had like will spin and kind of like that, but it is a whirligig park, and the artist is Wallace Simpson. And yeah, so there's these wind powered sculptures, and they just take up this like 2 acre park, and there's 30 of them, and a lot of them being like the largest that he's ever made. And they host like farmers markets, events, things like that at the park. It's just like a strange structure. You should stop by if you're in Wilson and see all of these fun little whirly gigs going. It's just
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. It's a cute art installation to be sure.
Huh. That reminds me of the place you're talking about in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Juristic.
Jurassic Park, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That place
maybe
looks pretty
I,
cool too.
maybe I just like sheet metal art installations. We'll dive into that later. Yeah. Every episode, say, hey, have you been to this?
I think it's fascinating though. I
Yeah.
think it's cool. I think art, like I love how there are a lot of places too in Florida and in Georgia that I wrote about for Only in Your State, that people, it's like found object art,
Hmm.
and they just set up these like exterior installations where people can come and sometimes pay a couple bucks, sometimes it's free, and just like wander through. I love when people are able to express their creativity and
Yeah.
not do it in like a structured societal way. I think that's really neat.
Yeah, especially when like a community will embrace it and it's not something where they think it's an eyesore or they just don't want it to
Yeah,
be there. I think that's great. I
yeah,
agree.
agree. Okay, well, speaking of metal, not heavy metal, but maybe not the heavy metal you're thinking of. But there is a museum in Maggie Valley called Wheels Through Time Transportation Museum. And I thought this was really cool because it's a museum that's dedicated to automobiles, transportation. There's a huge collection of vintage motorcycles and tons of rare automobiles. And it's basically it chronicles the evolution of transportation throughout the United States. So, anybody, if you love classic cars, if you love rare motorcycles, memorabilia, you actually can go, you can see, touch, and sometimes they'll even start the engines for you to listen. So I just feel like it's such a fun experience for anybody. If you have anybody in your life who loves automobiles,
Yeah, that's
I would
awesome.
definitely take my nephew to this. Probably even my brother too, because he loves cars and he's older. But yeah, it just sounds like a really fun and unique museum.
That is neat. Yeah, I love it whenever there's a interactive aspect of a museum. So if they're like starting these things, or you can like actually investigate, and it's not just like, oh, it's behind a glass case and the end. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to speak about this is another like multiple stop destination, and that is Wilmington, North Carolina. So not only is it Wilmington, but Wrightsville Beach, which is in Wilmington, and then also the USS North Carolina. So the city of Wilmington is absolutely delightful. And for anyone out there who is a One Tree Hill fan, it is the setting of the show. So you can do like a walking tour of One Tree Hill spots. And yeah, it's one of the best coastal cities. And it's so charming with like restored brick streets and older buildings from the 19th century. And there's just like a river walk, a downtown area where you can shop. Wrightsville Beach, which I absolutely love. You just cross a little bridge and you can go visit the beach. And the USS North Carolina is has its home in Wilmington, and it is one of the first 10 battleships to join the American fleet in World War II, and I think it was commissioned in spring of 1941. And you can get on the ship, take a tour, and just really appreciate the like the manufacturing, the craftsmanship, and really the power of a battleship, which I have never been on one. I think it'd be really cool to explore. And yeah, you can visit like the officers' quarters, the mess hall, like all these different places on the ship. So yeah, I think it's a really cool spot to go to.
I've also never been on a battleship before.
Yeah, I think at one point I went somewhere and toured a submarine, but I was younger, so I don't quite remember it. Very tight, not
Yeah.
exactly a comfortable place. You can't imagine like people actually living on these things. It's wild.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, nice ad. Um, okay, so I'm going to pivot a little bit to this natural wonder that, again, in the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Mile High Swinging Bridge at
Oh gosh.
Grandfather
Yeah.
Mountain.
Yep.
So this is a an iconic suspension bridge that sways gently in the mountain breeze, and it's a mile above sea level in North Carolina, and basically you will have some of the best views that you can get in the
Yeah.
state from this bridge, as long as you're not terrified of heights or just like sudden movements over a
Gently
gorge.
swinging bridges a mile up. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
This one's a tough one because I'm not a fan of heights,
Maybe you
especially
could just
anything
like,
moving.
yeah, that's the thing. It's not a stable structure. It is moving. You'd have to like hand over hand the guardrail, get out
Yeah,
halfway, be like, I'm
yeah,
done. Okay.
yes. No, I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. I mean, I don't know. Would you?
It would be tough. I am casually afraid of heights. Like it's not something where I freak out, but like going to like a sky deck, like the Sears Tower, and be able to like look down. I don't particularly enjoy, and then you feel like the swaying and all. When you
Right.
get swaying, I just that's hard. But it is beautiful, and so if you have the nerves to do it, I think it's a unbeatable photography moment. You know?
Yeah, that to me maybe I feel like lately I've been talking myself more into doing things that, my mind mentally, logically would just immediately cross off.
Yep.
So I'm gonna stay open to this one, and I'll keep you posted if ever I'm in this area.
Yeah, we're gonna have to circle back to a lot of the things we've talked about on the podcast because I need to check. And because we had that list of places Marissa wouldn't go. If we had a shirt, we need to
Yeah,
start checking it off. I need to know. Maybe that's the
it's the
new season
shirt.
of the podcast.
Oh my god,
Marissa
it's
tries
gonna
it
be a
all.
very long shirt. Oh my gosh, I don't. That's giving me anxiety even thinking about that.
Oh no.
Or just Marissa tries some of it, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, 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 yeah. It's
Or
okay.
maybe I'll do the swinging bridge on the day you do the caverns. We'll report back. See who's still alive.
I just send us a voice memo sobbing, like, oh well, I don't think Sarah liked that. Oh, yeah. So I think I have one more stop for me. Do you have any more? Or was that your last one?
Yeah, I have one more.
Okay. Okay. Well, this won't be my last one then. So while we're on the notes of being in the mountains and exploring, I wanted to mention Chimney Rock State Park. And if you're looking for amazing views and you don't want to go on a swinging bridge, you can go to the top of Chimney Rock and you can have just an absolutely beautiful vista. The state park is named after the rock, but you also have like a lot of different, hiking trails and things to explore when you're actually there. It's near Asheville, so if you're visiting the Biltmore Estate or anything else in Asheville, you can make a quick side trip over to the state park. So, yeah, I think it's just one of those things where if you're in the area, you might as well stop by and get the awesome view.
Cool. It sounds much more stable to me in terms
Oh,
of
yeah. Yeah.
views.
Not moving at all.
Cool. Okay, so my last one is in the Great Smoky Mountains, and it's another natural gem. This is Mingo Falls, and it's one of the region's tallest waterfalls with a height of 120 feet. And
Ooh.
yeah, this one's a really beautiful waterfall. I love waterfalls. I highly suggest checking this one out. You're going to have to do a little bit of hiking. It's a short hike, but it's steep, so prepare accordingly. But at the end of the hike, you have a beautiful cascade of water, and totally worth it. I think just to sit for a little bit, listen, watch, and just
Yeah.
relax.
Pack a snack, take a load off, and just enjoy the falls. That sounds like an absolutely perfect afternoon.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. All right, my last one. It's also in the mountains of North Carolina. Is Mount Airy. Have you ever passed through Mount Airy?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, it is Andy Griffith's hometown, and the is made up to look like the fictional town of Mayberry from the Andy Griffith Show.
Oh, huh.
Yeah. So you can see the courthouse, the gas station, all these little bits and things that they placed for the show. And yeah, it's the real life basically birthplace of Andy Griffith, and then that's what the town Mayberry was based on. So it's just a wholesome tiny town in the mountains. You can drive through and just really, if you like the Andy Griffith Show or have never seen it, it's still like a really quaint spot to visit and drive through, especially if you're exploring the mountains, looking for a trail, just want to have a little pit stop. I think that'd be a cute stop, and you can even whistle the tune if you want. If you can, I can't whistle, or else I would. Uh, I'd give you a clip, but you know it if you
That's
know it.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is it
yeah, there you go.
all right?
I mean, you're showing off. That's fine, but that's it. That's the one.
Been practicing whistling all my life for this moment.
That was a good whistle too. It was very clear.
Thanks.
Nicely done.
Thank you. That's really cool though. I love that. That would just be a fun place for like, any TV lover. I mean, I used to
Yeah.
watch Nick at Night, and
Mhm.
I would check that out for sure.
Yep. And
Cool.
that's it for me. I know there's a lot more, but that was my list.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we're going to add those stops and a bunch more to our article that we're going to be putting up on onlyinyourstate.com. We're also going to be posting it in the show notes. So check out the article, check out our interactive map that you can customize. And we'll be back next week with another state adventure.
And maybe an
And
intro. We'll figure it out.
oh my gosh, yes. Yes, and an intro. Fingers crossed.
Sounds great.